So for those of you who don't know, my name is Hikari or Hikari, but sometimes people mishear my name and I get Shikari. Or if I try to make life easier by saying Kari, people say like Ari. And then according to Word documents, autocorrect, it's hiker. I was born in Tokyo, Japan, lived there for 6 years, and then moved with my family in 1999 to live at Gordon Conwell for 4 years with my family. In 2003, we moved back to Tokyo, and that's where I spent kindergarten, 1st grade, 6th grade, and 12th grade at an international Christian school where I grew up learning English. So pretty much I grew up learning English from the age of 5. So I'm a Japanese who's never went to a Japanese school, so who's more fluent in English than Japanese. So what does that make me? 100% Japanese? No. An Asian American? No. An American? No. A third culture kid? Yes. In my nonfiction writing class last semester, I wrote about my life as a TCK, so I'd like to share an excerpt from it. For those of you who have never heard of the term TCK or aren't sure what it means, let me try to explain as best as I can in my own words. TCK stands for Third Culture Kid, and in a broad sense, it stands for people who have lived in different countries or environments for a long period of time, developing a culture of their own. People ask where home is, and we have trouble explaining to them, and can only give a somewhat vague answer or a lengthy trail of explanation that requires the person to sit down with a cup of tea. Sometimes it can even be a bit awkward, and all that person wanted to know was where you were born, eventually creating a misunderstanding that we're just, well, weird. The fact that we don't know where home is, what specific nationality we are, and who we really are, we might as well call ourselves nomadic amnesiacs. When I first arrived at Gordon, to be really honest, I hated it. The Americophobia I developed as a 2nd grader back when I used to live in Massachusetts returned. During a floor fellowship near the beginning of 1st semester, my freshman year, a junior blurted out, "Japan's in Taiwan, right?" And I wanted to run away right there from the US forever. I thought to myself, is this what all the Americans are going to be like? Freshman and sophomore year was a struggle. Every day I would wish that the days would fly by just so that I could hop on a plane to go back to Japan. But as much as I love Japan, it's another struggle for me to fit in. People in Japan always notice that I have a foreigner-like accent when I talk in Japanese, and the people from my church would, out of good intentions, give me a concerned look from time to time to see if I understood what they were saying. On the other hand, people here would shower me with compliments about my flawless English. I was really bitter for the past 2 years, but I realized as a TCK, we had the advantage to be open-minded because we've been exposed to different cultures, different people. But I realized that I closed up. I became closed-minded and looked down on people because of their ignorance. And this summer, when I came back from Gordon, when I went back home, I grew tired of how critical I was, how bitter I was toward the US. And I prayed to God a few days before I had to come back here. I prayed that He would open my heart to the US to be able to not wish for the days to fly by, but to live in the moment and to cherish my time in the US. And He did. Junior year has been indescribably amazing. In September, I found myself thinking about how I would miss the US and how I didn't really want to graduate next year. And that blew me away because that would not have been the case last year. I realized that wherever God is, that's where home is. The 2.5 years I've been at Gordon, He's blessed me with beautiful friends, brilliant professors, a new church, and so much more. I hope that any one of you struggling with identity issues or questions about where home is will always remember that wherever God is, that's where we belong.